Well, welcome back to AM Northwest. It's time to do a little spring cleaning for our minds. Here with surefire ways to reboot for the new season, we welcome back licensed clinical psychologist, Dr. Alex Bloom. Alex, good to see you.
Hi, Helen.
So this idea is that you can clear your mind, like we clean up the clutter in our house?
That's right. So, you know, with springtime, we have certain routines that we might do. We might have to deep clean the oven or take out some old clothing and whatnot. And so with these ideas, it's having this idea that we want to focus on the inner, just like we do with the outer.
Okay.
So we might have a checklist of what we go through, you know, like I've got to do some deep cleaning with dusting and whatnot. Well, why not add some inner items to clear the clutter that might be going on the
That's
inside?
a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with the first one, which you say is carve out some quiet time.
So think about exercise. If we don't plan it, how often does it happen?
Right.
Right? And so these ideas can be deceptively simple.
So you're saying put in your calendar 10 minutes of quiet time.
Yep,
Okay.
yep, even 5 minutes. And so there are some simple ways that we can do this because it's so easy to go up from the time we wake up in the morning to when we put our head on the pillow to have noise, this cacophony of sound. Right. So when you're on your way to work, can you turn off the radio or your podcast for even a few minutes?
No, I can't,
I know,
Alex.
right?
I can't
it's
do
so
it.
hard.
You're asking a lot.
Or lunchtime.
Yeah.
You know, one day a week, don't meet with coworkers and just go off by yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Just
have a few mindful bites.
Eat your sandwich by yourself. But are you talking about something like meditation?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
So it's interesting when you look at the research on silence that there is so much that we're now starting to see. So I'll give you some examples.
Okay.
That when we spend even a few minutes in silence, that it clears our mind so we have more what are called cognitive resources at our disposal, which means we're able to problem solve more quickly. I call it the internal RAM, right? Like when we reboot our computer, we're able to problem solve and just have more rapid access to things.
That may explain, the only time I think I get quiet time is in the shower, and then those are my best ideas.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
And now they're finding that it can regenerate brain cells.
Oh, really?
Isn't that interesting?
That is.
Yeah.
I need more brain cells.
Don't we all?
Yes. Nix the Negative.
Yeah, Nix the Negative. It's so easy for us to focus on what's going wrong in our life. Like I've talked about before, this negativity bias.
Right.
And so what we're wanting to do, it starts with awareness. It starts with us being able to just take a simple inventory of what are the negative influences in our life. It might be that we're connected with the 24/7 news cycle, or what articles are we reading? Who are we choosing to spend time with? Those negative Nellies, right? And so it's being intentional about just taking a non-judgmental inventory of what is it that's going on, and then how do I choose to spend my time? So here's something to keep in mind. When you're scrolling through Facebook, and you see that article posted about something negative that's going on in Washington, stop and be mindful before you just mindlessly click on it. And just simply ask yourself, what emotion do I want to feel?
Right.
So if I read this, if I watch the show, if I do whatever, how might I feel afterwards?
Right. Gotcha.
You know?
You also say let go of loneliness.
Let go of loneliness. Winter is often the loneliest season.
Yeah.
And so we tend to isolate.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. And so as spring is coming and we're shaking off hibernation mode, that it's important for us to reconnect. This becomes a very intentional thing. And loneliness levels are skyrocketing. In the past 3 decades, our loneliness levels have gone up 30%.
I just read an article that, when I was scrolling through Facebook, I just read an article that if social interaction is the key to staying alive. That's one of the keys. So there
it's
you
so
go.
important. We're biologically wired that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Challenge your chatter.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So with that, we have anywhere between 50 and 70,000 thoughts a day. It's a lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? 80% of those are negative.
Yes.
90% of our thoughts are recycled.
Oh.
Carried over from the past.
Right.
So what are we continuing to bring into our everyday? And the most important piece here is how much of that is true, right?
Right.
Most of our thoughts that we think aren't true.
You mean aren't true about ourselves or just in general aren't true?
In general.
Okay.
In general. It could be about ourselves, it could be about in general. And so the practice here is about being intentional about how we're spending the focus in here. So what does that mean? That means that we can play scientist. We can just simply ask myself if I'm going through a difficult moment.
Right.
If I'm feeling this way, what must I be thinking? And is it true?
Right.
But what's the evidence?
Right.
Yeah.
This sounds like a good idea to clear our mind, get rid of that clutter. Thanks, Alex. We'll put the information for you on our website at KATU.com.